Hey everyone, this is the Innovator's Mindset with Anita Huggins. There we go. Anita and I just been hanging out. Okay. This is going to be like a super rush podcast because Anita and I have just like spent 40 minutes getting to know each other and like talking. I had
It
to
took
say,
a
I
really
got
long
another meeting.
time.
I got another meeting. I am actually going to be joining Superintendent Huggins here in Charleston County School District coming up here in August. You are doing some amazing things there. You have been in that. How long have you been in that district? How long have you been there?
I've been around for a long time. I know it's hard to believe,
It
but
is hard to believe.
I mean, this is my 28th year here. It's just shocking. Time passes quickly.
Listen, I just turned 50, and I'll tell you this.
No way.
I did, and 50 is old until you're 50, and then it's young. Right?
Then it's way young again. That's for
Right,
real.
right. So
Yeah.
we were talking. You're doing some incredible stuff. I can't wait to meet your school district, to be with you. Your team has been absolutely amazing to me. By the way, they've been so
Yeah.
welcoming and warm. So it can only go downhill from here. They've been
Uh,
they're almost too
They,
nice to me.
they've established really high expectations for the rest of us. I'm sorry for that in advance, but we got a lot of really great people here doing a lot of really wonderful things for kids. So I'm blessed to be able to lead the work to the
Well,
greatest extent that I
and I
can.
guess for everyone, because like I feel like I know you, we've become friends in the last 40 minutes, which is amazing. So if for those people who are listening on the podcast or watching here on YouTube, tell a little bit about yourself, what you do today, and actually how you got there.
Well, I'm not really sure how I got here, but I got here somehow. I've been around this district for nearly 30 years. I started as a teacher. I've been a principal. I've led at the central office for quite some time. I was serving as a deputy superintendent, and the board asked me to step in and fill a void at a time the district really needed some leadership. And so I've stepped into this role. Fortunately, I've been here a long time. I know what's worked and what hadn't. And even better for kids is that I have a lot of really, really smart people around me who love the work and who want to do great things for kids. And this is a great, huge, diverse district. It's the second largest in South Carolina, the most diverse, nearly 52,000 kids
Mhm.
and about 86 schools and programs. So we've got a lot of wonderful things going on here. So
Yeah,
we
and
can't wait to have you here with us.
I like seriously cannot wait to be there. Maybe you are there because it's like Survivory, like you just lasted longer than everyone else. Maybe
Well,
that's
I wasn't going to say that for the whole free world to know, but perhaps that's the truth. In fact, I think you might be onto something there.
Well, here, so like this is I'm actually just checking out your vision, and you know you are just totally re-emphasizing this in our conversation, and this is actually the Charleston County School District vision. Together, we shall create a high-performance culture to support delivery of education excellence to each and every student. As a district, we shall enable students to continuously achieve higher levels of performance excellence. Together, we shall create our future. That one line that we create our future together. That to me is so imperative. So what is that like when you say that, when you break that down? Because a lot, you know, let's be honest, a lot of school
Yeah.
districts will say stuff like that, and they don't.
Yeah,
You
there's a
know?
whole lot of words.
No,
It's all
but that
yeah.
part is like, you know, when you say together we shall create our future. One of the big things that I'm really about is that when you actually have people's fingerprints all over that vision, then they're more likely to make it happen. So what does that actually look like in your school district when you talk about that?
Yeah, well, I'm a recovering English teacher and I love words, but it's a whole lot of words. I mean, a whole lot of words basically to say that it takes everybody, a
Mhm.
whole ecosystem of support. Because if we could have fixed it alone as educators, we would have fixed it generations ago. But it takes everybody. It takes the mayor, it takes the community organizations, it takes parents, it takes everyone rowing the same way for kids. It doesn't mean that we all think alike. In fact, we're stronger when we think differently and we figure out how to get there for all kids, and that all kids leave our system ready to do whatever it is
Mhm.
they want to do next, whether that's college or a community school, whether that's serve in the military, whether that's work, whatever people want to do, we want them to leave ready. Not only being able to read and write, but also to be able to communicate, to think critically, to collaborate with others, and to make the world, to really make the world a better place.
Y- Listen, I hope you talk about all this stuff the day I'm
I'll
there.
do
It's like this is like totally up my alley right here. And you know, I grew up in a very small town in Canada, and one of the things I've really been thinking about quite a lot is school wasn't central to community where I lived. School was the
it.
community. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was the community that, you know, that's where families met, connected, and so many events and like basically everything was central. And, having that when you said like, it's funny because when you said, the mayor, I actually thought about the mayor when I was in elementary school. I'm like, how do I remember the mayor of my town? Is because that was like, when the mayor wanted to be the mayor, they came to the school
Right.
because that's where everyone is going to be. And you had to impress the school. And so that is a really powerful thing because, you and I totally were talking about this before we were on the podcast. You don't want everyone thinking the same. You want different perspectives. And as an administrator, one of the things I used to always say is it's not about my idea or your idea. It's about the best idea. And we do not care where it comes from, but we want to make that
Exactly
happen,
right.
right? And so I love that.
Yeah.
You
No
were
place for egos in this work. No place for
oh,
egos. We want the best for kids, right? And it's all about getting that. And again, it takes diversity of thought,
yeah.
and people with collaborative spirits to be able to do the right thing. Because again, if we had it right, all kids would be leaving the system reading and ready, and everybody's not. So we got to get it right. We got to
Okay,
get
so
it
I'm gonna challenge you a little bit here. There's a little
right. Okay,
room
go
for
ahead.
ego. There's a little room for ego. Do you know why? And this
Uh,
this is actually was one of the biggest learnings for me. I'm a super competitive person. Like I'm very,
yeah,
very competitive. And so
I'd have never known that. Oh my gosh.
right, it doesn't seem like me. But here's the ego thing. When I became a principal, what I realized, I think, and you know what? I think deep down you're a little competitive too. I'm not you're a little bit too, right? And it's not, and
How
so
many you talk to? My oldest kid or the youngest one? I mean, I don't know.
but the ego thing, what I realized real quick is I want to do amazing, and how I do amazing in this role is I make sure everyone else does amazing, and that's
That's right.
that's where your ego gets fed. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like, hey, all these people are doing great, and I'm making sure they're doing great. There is
Yeah.
I just posted this on Instagram. There was I'm a huge basketball guy. Bill
Yeah.
Russell is played for the Celtics, basically known as the greatest champion of all time. And he said, basically, he said, I was listening to someone talk about him, and he said, the best advice that Bill Russell said is that when you are truly great, what you do is you make room for greatness for others. That's when you become really, really great. And so, like, of course, you're competitive, you still want to do, but in school leadership and in schools, and this isn't just an administration, it's teachers too, that you do really well when the people you serve do well. And that can still you can still feed your ego, right? Through that process.
That that's exactly right. I'm only good as the weakest person around me, right?
Yeah.
So I'm a better leader, by lifting those up and supporting them and getting them to where they need to be and ensuring they have the resources they need to be great for kids. And kids' success, a kid's success is a teacher's success, is a
Oh,
principal's success, is a superintendent's success. Again, the work is about getting kids to where they need to be. And so I tend to agree with you wholeheartedly
well,
on
it's
that.
it's gonna be interesting because as soon as I get there, you will be as weak. I'll be the weakest person there, so you'll only be as good as me.
Perhaps, but we'll do our best to support you while you're here in South Carolina. That's all I can say.
Okay, so we were, and this is what I'll tell you. This is actually, a lot of people say the stuff that you're saying, but they don't truly live it. And here's what I appreciate about you: you were like a little late for a meeting. You're a little late for a meeting,
Sorry.
but
Better
you,
late than never.
but you know why you like in this. I'll take this as a great, yeah, a couple minutes, not a big deal. You're a little late because you're with students right now, and you're doing student advisory, and that like, hey, listen, I'm never gonna say like quit on students, right?
No, no,
So
right.
tell me about that process. Like, what's happening with the students? How are you like bringing them in the conversation? How do they see themselves like in that? Because I think you said it was like a student advisory, so they have like
Yeah.
their fingerprints. Like this is truly kind of going back together. We should create a future. That's why like it stuck out to me because I'm like, oh yeah, she was just totally doing that right before we
Yeah.
had this meeting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you think about all the stakeholders that impact the school system, I mean, students are the most important ones.
Hmm.
So if we really want to know how to reach them, we should ask them. If we really want to know what needs to change in our classrooms, they should tell us. If we really want to know how we should spend our money, we should ask them. So we created a student cabinet here for the superintendent, just like many of our schools have a student cabinet. I meet with the student cabinet during the year, and we bring them in. We brought them into our budget process. We brought them into conversations about cell phones, conversations about student uniforms. I mean, if you really want to know, I mean, you said you're 50, and I know we're close to that, but but needless to say, I, I get information to work with our leaders from kids.
Hmm.
And that is what is critically important. So our session today is all about student agency and helping kids vocalize for us what they think is most important in their neighborhood schools
Mhm.
and what they want to see the district do to ready them for opportunities once they leave us here in the Charleston County School District.
So I know you and I have been in education about the same amount of time. Maybe you've been a
Yeah, but
little bit.
I know we're near
Yeah,
50 though.
right. I know you're way younger.
Yeah,
So you started when you were 10. And so this,
8 actually, but there you go.
sorry. So I know you'll remember this in some capacity. There was this time where we had like computer labs and kids would go in there, and if you turned your back, there'd be some kid who would like pop the keys out of the keyboard, and they'd either like pop them out and the worst is when they'd switch them, and then you're like,
Yeah,
you don't
yeah,
know what's what.
yeah.
And there, I thought about this when you were talking about this. I had to deal with this all the time because it was part of my job. Even though it wasn't part of my job because I had tech in my title, that mean I had to fix stuff,
Sure.
even though I was a teacher. But we had that problem quite often. And then actually we started basically a student genius bar where I'm like, listen, why am I fixing this stuff? I got kids who want to fix this stuff and they actually know what they're doing. And
That's
so what
right.
happened, what was really interesting, as soon as we moved to that like Apple Genius Bar model where the kids were the support, the keys stopped because your
They
buddy's
stopped
sitting
doing it.
beside you and you're like, dude, I have to fix that. So
I know.
do you know what I mean? So now there's like an
Yeah.
ownership over the process. So when you're having those students become part of it, that's the first thing I thought of because I remember like they would like put words in the keys.
That's
Like,
exactly right.
ah, I
Well,
can't
but I
remember.
mean,
Yeah.
that's just like our classrooms. I mean, the person doing most of the work is the person doing the learning, right? So it's really important to let kids own so much of that. And you're right. A lot of things change when kids are an active part of um, issues in the school and issues in the district. So I really value their voice very, very much.
Well, and not only that, we were talking about the day when I'm joining you all, and it's like a huge leadership team. There's going to be a ton of people there, and I know that you really appreciate their perspectives and what they're doing. So here's my question. This is kind of put me on the spot because I know this is going to be sent out to your entire district. If I'm good on that day, if I help you, what does that look like to you? Like, how do I, ensure that I do a good job based on what you need as a school district, as a community? How do I best serve you?
Well,
This
first,
is like if you have this
wait a minute
recorded,
now.
so I'm in trouble if I don't do it.
Who agreed to send this recording out to the whole district?
Yeah, yeah, you
No,
didn't.
I'm just kidding. I'm just
Hey,
kidding.
welcome everyone on Facebook Live.
I'm just I'm just kidding. So I think you help us by really just helping us think about how we think and focus the work on kids here and how we prioritize doing what's best for kids, even when it may not be popular among those of us who are actually 50, right? And
Hey,
so we
just
need
me,
people,
just me.
yeah, yeah, just you right now. But I'm just saying there may be some 50-year-olds in the room, but the thing is, we always need partners like you, to help us think differently about how we do the work, and to help give us different perspectives about the work. So your success will look like you're making the people around us stronger and more equipped to do the work as we launch a new school year. And
Well,
I'm optimistic that you can do that. Despite this podcast, I'm optimistic that you are going to be able to bring a different perspective to our team and to help us think differently and to challenge our thinking about the work. Because sometimes we get stuck. We get stuck in the Charleston way or the South Carolina way or the Southeast way. And, you know, there are great things happening outside of this district that would really add value to kids here in Charleston.
yeah, and it's like I'm talking to you and hearing about all the stuff that's already happening. I'm like, oh, I can only screw this up.
Yeah. You're
So
not going to screw it up.
hopefully, and I think that's one of the things we were talking about before we got on here too, and I really appreciate about you is that fact that you're like, hey, and you even talked about this too, that you're a learner as well. Like you're doing this stuff. You said like, hey, listen, I asked my staff to like have these student advisories, so I need one too. I need to be a part of that as well. And so that focus on learning, right, continuous growth is something that you embody, which is not always the case, right? I
Right.
don't say some superintendents, but I
Right.
like I know like I'm cutting this short because like and nobody wants to listen to us for too long, right? Like that's the thing.
Right. No,
Because
nobody really
like
wants.
and we'll see if this makes it to your district email list or whatever.
It will, I
All right.
promise.
Hey, so Nina, I'm so like it was great meeting you and just the
Thanks.
pride you have in your community. And I know that it's very precious to you. Otherwise, you would have left a long time. So
Probably.
yeah. So I can't wait to join you. I can't wait to join your school district. And thanks everyone for being here. Anita, thanks for taking time. And I
Thank you.
apologize to your students for
No,
putting you out of
it's
that
okay.
view. So,
We can't wait to have you.
all
It's going
right.
to be a lot
Okay.
of fun.
Thanks everyone.
Thanks.
Have a wonderful day. Take care.